All right, so it's late in the day. Can you hear me well? If you can, stand up, stretch legs a little bit, and then we're going to do an exercise of, not this kind of exercise, but an exercise of sit down if you have. So do you already know a whole lot about folio investing, folio institutional via folio? One. Okay. Two. All right. Sit down if you already know everything about Regulation A Tier 2 and all the issuers that have used it. Or many of the issuers. Okay, next. Sit down if you know all about NFS, Apex, and Core. Good. So we're going to learn something here. All right. Sit down if you're a registered investment advisor. Okay, we're going to learn a whole lot. You can all sit down now. I'm going to run out of questions if I keep going at that pace. And Sydney gave me like three minutes to talk a little bit about Reg A. Reg A is not Bob Marley. Reg A is Regulation A Tier 2, the improved Regulation A offering for allowing companies to raise up to $50 million per year from both the rich and the not-so-rich, aka accredited and non-accredited investors.
Is that the same as Reg A Plus?
What's a good teaser question? So I'm going to represent a couple of lawyers here who would tell you there's no such thing as Reg A Plus. That's a moniker that people came up with to label a set of securities laws. The security law that people are actually using is Regulation A Tier 2 to do an SEC qualified offering to the general public. Thanks, Jim. All right, a little bit of background. So my name's Blaine McLaughlin. I run the alternative asset portion of Folio Investing, Folio Institutional. And what does that mean? And why am I here at an ICO group? I don't know anything about ICO other than what I've learned today. I'm here to be a sponge. What we're really trying to do is share what different parts of different industries are doing and see if we can make a connection. So the place that I work in is the Reg A, Reg D, private placement, non-traded REIT, S11, nonprofit 4A6, 3C7 fund, all that stuff that isn't exchange traded, which seems like it might now include some cryptocurrency related companies, possibly some ICOs and other things. We're plumbers, financial plumbers, fintech plumbers. We do the custody of cash and securities in brokerage accounts. The last part is a bill differentiator for us in brokerage accounts. For the most part, you can't buy private securities and hold them in brokerage accounts. With us, you can, we do. So people who want to learn about that and use that service, come talk to me later. You can easily find me at viafolio.com, viafolio.com. Now, let's see if there was anything else that I was supposed to talk about. I heard that Marty Tate has a question for me. Unless he left the room and he changed his mind. So it goes to something a couple of the other speakers were talking about earlier, and thank you, Marty. Where's the money? The money is in traditional financial services channels. The money is in brokerage accounts. The money is in family offices. And for the most part, the money is going to follow those traditional processes. So if you can't purchase the security through the traditional financial vehicles, like a brokerage account, not that hard, you'd think, then you're not going to get very much of the money in it. And so that's the basic answer, and that's why we built what we built the way we built it, is to enable that sort of mainstream of these non-traded assets. Take that a little bit further, and you get into interesting questions like, well, how do you move from, you can tell I've been paying attention today, from fiat currency to cryptocurrency, and how do you then custody the security that's purchased with that fiat currency or even with the cryptocurrency? Well, there are all sorts of different solutions you can talk about. Again, going back to the mainstream solution, you put it in your brokerage account. You hold it in your brokerage account. You have it priced in your brokerage account. If you're a registered investment advisor or other form of intermediary, then you get paid your normal asset-based fee on these cool, new, different assets in your brokerage account. So that's a bit on what's going on there. I know I'm going to get the hook real soon. The other part I was supposed to give an update on is talk about Reg A and how it's gone. We've processed a bunch of Reg A offerings. I think as a clearing firm, we might be the only one processing Reg A offerings. And we've seen a real bifurcation in the space. There's two parts. Professor Jim Angel is holding up our website showing some Reg A offerings that are available to the general public. They break into two parts. There's there's what was not entirely expected when the Jobs Act passed, which is a resurgence of the small cap IPO. If you're raising less than $50 million, you've got a process that's less expensive, and most importantly, you can actually talk to investors about. It doesn't have the same quiet period restrictions of your traditional S1 IPO. The Reg A IPO has been a great tool for the small cap raise. Now, within that, just go a little bit below the surface. Yes, these companies absolutely are able to activate their fans. They're absolutely able to activate their customer bases. They're absolutely able to do some fun stuff with that. Still, it looks like most of the money is coming from bigger check writers, small institutional investors, family offices, brokered transactions. But it's still fantastic to be able to access and activate the customer base as part of the offerings. And we've done that with several. We'll do that with several more before the year is over. The other part of the Reg A market is real estate, because the things that aren't going to exchange traded right away are mostly real estate. And so it's a really interesting way for real estate developers, real estate companies to access capital of non-accredited investors with a pretty easy on-ramp with the ability to market and talk about it and do some really interesting things. There's a particular piece that my company and that I have a real soft spot for, and I spent the last week at the SRI conference. So I want to put in my little plug at the end for, we're not just here about making money, we're not just here making great new tech. We are here to produce sustainable, responsible impact results through our investments. And we can do that through ICOs, we can do that through Reg A, we can do that through Reg D, we can do that through many other channels. But it's important that we think about the impact of our investments and leverage that impact for good. Thank you. Maybe a question.
Yeah, I've got a question. I know you for a long time, and been great, in learning about your company and yourself and about this over there. But I got to tell the audience here, and I'm going to put you in the spot right here. When I met this gentleman here, he's such a serious, all this, finance, all this regulation over there behind the scenes. You're a hard rock man. He loves rock and roll, Metallica. Last time I saw he was here. And I'm going to ask you not to do it tonight. But
I'm wearing a white undershirt today.
White undershirt with the picture of the Metallica over there. So the tie suit behind it. He goes to all the concerts, what was the last concert you went?
Yeah, unfortunately, Anthrax is not playing tonight, so at the end of this, I'll stay here with you guys instead of heading up to the Fillmore. But I'm told the Anthem is also great, newly opened over on the waterfront, so we got some great concert venues in the D.C. area to work with.
Yeah, I love these crazy guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Sydney.
Appreciate it. So, but just in a serious note, the Reg A Plus is here to stay.
Reg A Plus is here to stay. It took a while to come out with the implementing rules because everybody was really thoughtful about that. Mm-hmm. It took a while for the first couple of companies to dip their toe in the water and try it and say, well, not everything worked the way they thought it would. It took a while for clearing and custody, for other firms to kick in. It's now going full steam ahead.
Yeah, so
full steam ahead.
See the best thing come out of the Jobs Act is Reg A Plus.
It's been the largest single form of capital formation out of the Jobs Act. Okay. Neat things happening in Reg crowdfunding, real money happening in Reg A.
50 million and plus.
For each offering.
And doesn't need to be accredited investors.
The rich and the not so rich.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Sydney.